Hey, Facebook friends and family, how's it going? This is Dr. Bagley. First, let me apologize for my appearance. Today is a Thursday. Yes, it's a work day. However, it's no meetings for me. So I'm just really doing comfortable today because I got a lot of paperwork to do. But I wanted to take time today to talk to you about man's identification versus man's profession. This is a very serious subject, and like I said from the last video, me and my Lopez, my good guy, we talked about why guys are the way they are now, and so I wanted to address it in my point of view, but in the point of view of 95% of people in the world believe in a higher power, and pretty much everyone in the world believes in a one man, one woman position. So I want to take it from that position. And then I want to explain why guys are the way guys are and how you ladies feel about this and why it is about this. So we're going to talk about a man, but I'm directing it towards you ladies. So let's begin. In the beginning, in fact, let me pull up a chair right quick because I want to sit down and talk to you. In the beginning, we know that there was a higher power, we call it God, and God created or made man from the dust of the ground. Okay, how's it going? When man was created, the first thing God said was, go to school. Then from go to school, go to work. Okay, so man automatically had an identification of himself, and the relations between God. Okay, so when he sees himself, he sees God at the same time. But at the same time, man has a one-track mind. It's, yes, go to work, go to work. No, don't do this, don't do this. So it's a black and white mentality. Now, when God created from man a woman, what God did was showed man a woman. So man saw this thing, God created it and presented it. God never said what it was. God just said here. And man at the time says, woman. This is woman, a man with a womb. Same thing with the female. Okay, female has fetus and there's a male. So it's a male with a womb. Okay. His identity change. His identity changed in the context of it's now complete. It is he has a purpose, his profession. And now he who has a mind of black and white, right and wrong, good and bad, to now a female, a woman position. So his identity is now working together. Okay. In this process, ladies, realize something in the scriptures, that when God presented woman to man, one, said, now this is bone of my bone. And two, God never gave the woman instructions. Okay, that's the beginning of the identity of a man. He used to work. Now he has a helpmate by God. God is his identity because he comes from God. And then God gave woman, or this man with a womb, to him. So he's complete in context. Hey, how you doing? Let's not talk about the serpent. Let's fast forward this thing in today's world. How does it relate into today's time? World War II. World War II happened. Women then had to go to work in the manufacturing. Men had to go off to war. When men who survived came back from war, woman still was working. Some men said to their woman, I like the fact that you're working. We can work together, we can combine together, and we can grow. Okay. Some guys were dictators. They were crap piece of guys then, and they're still piece of crap guys now, but we're not talking about those kind of guys. We're talking about the majority of the guys, and the majority of the guys looked at the woman when after World War II, looked at their women and say, I like the fact that you work. A lot didn't, but a lot more did. Okay, So man looked at woman and says, I like the fact that you're working, but the woman started complaining that there was not equality to this picture. Okay. Man supported the fact of equality because if we go back to Genesis, think about it. God presented woman to man. Man said, this is woman, bone of my bone. Okay, fine. God never said in the very beginning, man, you're over woman, woman, you're over man. They were equal. There was equality to this relationship. After World War II, women complaining there wasn't equality. Man supported the fact that, hey, ladies, go do your equality thing. Okay, what's going on right there? Go do your equality thing. Okay, here's an issue. When women started going out to do the equality thing, that movement of women's equality for voting, equal pay, and all of that, men supported it. But somewhere down the path of that, power started coming in, and then the beast got a hold of that movement. Now think about the beast, and let's use it Genesis, in our case, Christianity and Judaism. Let's use Genesis in the case, and we call it the serpent. When woman talked to the serpent, woman did a couple of things. Woman saw, and she saw it was pleasure. In this new movement, in the movement of the woman's equality, the beast got a hold of the women all together, and the beast said, here's power and here's pleasure. When woman decided to take it back to man, man says no. Some men says, I enjoy the pleasure. But majority of the men said no. Those who enjoyed the pleasure with the woman, they then started going down this path of pleasure. We have the 50s and 60s and 70s, right? And so this context happened. Now we have a group of guys that you ladies are complaining about that they're weak, they're lazy, they're not doing anything. And again, I'm not talking about all, but I'm looking at it in a global setting. They're dictatorships, they're this and there's that. Ladies, I want you to get this picture in your mind about what you're seeing and how it relates to the identity of today's man. When God made man and made the womb, the man with the womb, man sees a reflection of himself. On the opposite side, when woman looks at man, woman saw a reflection of herself. Now, what does that mean? That means when God presented woman to man, whatever man had, woman had. Whatever man worked and brought to the table, woman got. Whenever man had financials, woman had financials. Whatever man had, woman had. So there was an equality to that family structure. Now in this later movement, after the woman's movement, the identity of what the woman was seeing within the man, she had the power because of the equality, and from equality it turned into independence. So when the woman now sees the man, she sees the man, and in the beginning, the man was supporting the equality, but now the woman says through the power and then the pleasure point of view is, you don't need a man. I'm independent now. So think of it this way. If a man has a woman and he sees his reflection, the reflection is of him and her at the same time. When she sees him, she sees the reflection of herself. But in this context, she said to the reflection, I don't want you. I don't need you. And now I'm independent of you. So in context, what does this mean? the man in those days after World War II and the equality movement of women, when they saw their men, they had good men. Some didn't, but a majority of them had good men, and they brought pleasure to the table. And man said, no, I don't want that. I want equality. I don't want this. And then woman took it into her head that I can have power and I can do it myself because I was doing it myself when you were at war. And then so therefore the woman now says from equality movement to an independent movement, and now we have a separation. Let me give you an idea or a vision of what that separation looks like. If we take all the women and shrink it down to one woman, and we take all the men and shrink it down to one man, and we put God back into the picture, and God takes this woman that we have today and brings it to the man will simply say, God, I don't want that. I don't want this. No, this is I don't want. And so therefore in our churches, God is trying to make a woman. So when he presents the woman, the man can say 1, 2 women, 3 women, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 8th woman comes along, and now man says, now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Why? Because now he sees the reflection of who he is. That is the issue of today's time. So let me revert this right quick so you can see it on the board. Okay, so God, I'm sorry for the reflection, had a man, gave him ID. He gave him an identification of who he is. You're in my likeness, you're in my image and your likeness. Man had a profession, go to work, do this, but don't do this. And so man said, okay, I got this. Then it was woman made for man, and they were equal. They were equal. But now fast forward, history says that equality is now independent. So that's the first issue. When equality from man and woman became independence, woman from man, then we had man is tired. He's tired. Let me explain that real quick. He's tired because he has a job. He's tired because when he comes home, he has to argue with his dang woman. He's tired because he has to argue with not his job, equality side of that, but his woman with that issue, and kids with that issue, and the community with this issue and that issue. So man is tired, and I'm talking globally. Man is tired, and he's tired. Okay, let's go back. So now, what is the man? Man is looking for the now position. Now, bone of my bone, flesh of my. So now he's looking for a reflection of himself. Man, he's looking for a reflection of himself. He has a profession, but he's looking for a reflection of himself. And this is why men is the way they are. That's the issue, everyone. That is the issue. That's where we're at in today's time. Now, how do we fix this issue? So if that's the issue, how do we fix the issue? Because in today's time, if we shrink it down, man by himself would not want what is being presented. The serpent got a hold of the woman, gave her pleasure, and man is now saying, no, I don't want pleasure. I'm talking about a real man, not this little weak-minded guys, and I'll talk about that in a second. A real man says, no, I'm not accepting that. No, you want me to take care of you? No, I'm not taking. I have daughters. I take care of my daughters. I'm not taking care of a grown woman. I'm not providing this. No, we're not. I'm not being in a relationship where you have 4 or 5 or 6 other guys you're talking to in the social media, and they're doing this for you, and you're comparing me to all of those. No, we don't do that. Guys are saying, no, I'm tired. I'm not doing that. I'm looking for a woman which is my reflection of me. So when I see this man who has a womb in her, I see me. There's a reflection of me. Okay. That's the situation. How do we fix the situation? go to Proverbs 31. It's in the scriptures. Go to Proverbs 31. I want you to pause this video and then read the chapter of Proverbs 31. There's a position of the king side, and there's some things, don't drink, don't give drink to the man who's poor, poverty, and who's dying, and the law and stuff. Then it talks about the woman, and we call it the virtuous woman. So I want you to pause this video, go Google Proverbs 31, because I know a lot of you don't even have Bibles anymore, and read that, just that small chapter. It's a small chapter, and then come back, put play on me, and let's talk about that. Okay? So I'm going to go away. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. Let me go to this board right quick. Let me show you. Proverbs 31. So you guys should have read that. There's a mother who actually wrote the Proverbs 31. The mother was teaching about herself, a reflection of herself, woman, mother, reflection of herself, and then in hope of the reflection of herself, her son would take that reflection and then find a wife. Okay, so the mother is training the son of the reflection of herself in his mind. This is herself in his mind. This is the story teaching. And then from herself, she's hoping that the son will find the reflection of herself called the wife. He sees physically, and when he's out there looking, he's looking for his wife. He's looking for a wife, but the wife is by nature, by teaching, the reflection of the mother. All right, so he's looking for the reflection of himself. Okay, so we got that position right there. Cool. Think about it this way, everyone. Think about it this way. When you have a mother and she has a boy child, she's training him up in 2 ways. One is she's planting seeds in his mind. This is what you're supposed to do. This is the type of woman you're supposed to have. And then the second thing she's doing, she's showing him the reflection of what she's teaching him in hope that he will follow and find the reflection of what the mother wanted him to have called wife. Since woman took a equality position and turned it into an independent position, she's now training up her kids on 2 things: pleasure, and I don't need a man if it's a daughter. So let's talk about the guys today. Pleasure. Pleasure because the mother is teaching the child pleasure, how to treat a woman. This is the woman that's supposed to look like. This is the woman that you need. Because look at mama, look at me, and then son sees mama, son hears mama, and then son goes out and treat little women to be his girlfriend, not the wife, because the mother is training mentally and physically, and then the son is growing up, and what is he doing? He's looking for the reflection of himself. So the issue at hand, ladies, and I understand it, is mama raised up a man. He's a man now. Mama raised him up, and you having to now deal with this issue. And this issue is you have a guy, and he's a mama's boy. He's simple. He's been trained this way. Here's another issue. Mama growing up a child says you can't go out and play football. You can't go out and do rugby. You can't go hit that tree. You can't go play with those kids. You might get hurt. All right. Child grows up. Child is now sitting at home because inside this boy child is fight inside of this competition and aggression, and now he's only getting it like he did when he was a child, on the sidelines, on the outside, not playing, but on the, so when he grows up, he's got a TV. He's got social media. He's got his computer. He's got his phone. And you ladies who have this man now who wanted to be a warrior, he's now a sideline kind of guy watching sports, and you're complaining because he's watching sports while you want to go to church, or you want to do something else, or you're not in sports. That's the issue. What the mother was doing in Proverbs 31 was simple. She was training through her words of the reflection of who she was onto her son, in hope that physically, when he finds a woman, the woman's compared to the reflection of the mother in the man's mind. Hey, what's going on, bro? So in context, when a mother raises a boy child, she's raising a boy child according to the reflection of who she is, and hope, sometimes in hope of finding, the guy will find a reflection of who she is through another woman called wife. And this is the issue and how we resolve the issue. It is the ladies who have to who has the power to change the idea of the identification of who your man is. Not in just the position of the child, but let's say a grown man. But in context, socially, we may be too far off, because men has been trained to take care of a woman. So now men is the helpmate of the woman, and not woman being the helpmate of the man. We have the man not just providing the house because the woman has already got the house. We got a man who can't provide a car because the woman has already got a car. We got a man who has women out there who social media and any other and all other means have other men, and he's competing against that. Even if she says, "You're my only one," she allows other men to please her. Pleasing her just simply could be social media, phone calls, and other things. The independence of a woman is the independence from the position of God. In context, if God take all men, all the men, shrink them down to one, all women shrink them down to one. If the woman is being presented by God in today's time, the woman is saying to God, "No, I don't want him." But at the same time, man is saying, "I want her, and I'll do any and everything to what I can do to get her." And she's saying, "All right, well, if you want me, this is my demands." And that's negotiations, not dating. Even though dating could be negotiations. But the whole point is, where's the family? And how are we training our little kids up? And if we're training our little kids up with this outliner, men just only doing what they can to keep the woman, and women only doing what she can to keep the man, and when she get tired of the man, she's got somebody else, and when he gets tired of the woman, I got someone else, and so therefore there's no structure, there's nothing, and so one woman is looking at one man, and God is like confused as hell. The woman says, "I don't want him," and he says, "I'll do whatever to serve her." So that is part one, if you will, of the man's identification. In the very beginning, the man's identification was him in the relations to power, God. The power in God is the identity and who I am as the person. But at the second, now our identity is not of God. Our identity is woman is now God, because woman has power. And the power in the man is only thing he can do is go to the power, because that's who he is by nature. And pleasure is its governance. So if you want to change a man's identity, a man cannot do it by himself. He needs one, God, the very one who created him, or he needs a woman called the helpmate. That's pretty much it today. All right, so let's go to the board right quick, everyone. So let me erase this. So like I said, I was talking to man about man's leadership was the last video. Man's idea of who he is today's video. I did talk about God, but I want to talk about man and God in more specific, and then I'm going to talk about relationship more specific. So yesterday was man leaders. Yes, today is man's identity. And so this is pretty much what I was referring to. So like I said, review the video for later. There's a scripture that I really want you to read. And again, I'm not teaching religion. I just want you guys to read the scripture so you can understand what I'm talking about. And then understand where we're at and look upon yourself to see if you want to change it. And if you ladies don't want to change it, then fine, but don't complain about you don't have a good man, or you don't have a man at all, or he's boring, or he's any and everything else. Don't complain about the reflection of what you're seeing, because it is just a reflection of what you're seeing, what you produced, or what you want. You can't have independence and equality at the same time. And then the man is confused because he wants equality for you, but he doesn't want the independence, but he doesn't want to be alone either, because even God says a man should not be alone. So we have this confusion, and man is confused because he's a black and white thinking kind of guy, and woman has talked to them, taken from the beast, and she's looking out for everything else. Okay? So that's what I got today. A man's identity is what we talked about. So we'll talk and continue on the relationship probably tomorrow. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, just let me know, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you guys about it. Other than that, that's what I got today. All right, let me get back to work. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.